All right, my fellow Madridistas, welcome back to Madrid and welcome back to the channel. We just got back from the match just a moment ago. Okay, in my previous video, which was quite emotional, I promised you guys that I would whistle and yell my heart out. And I did on behalf of all of you. I whistled until my face was purple. It was out of control, but this was, I do not remember the last time that I've seen the Bernabéu this upset. This lasted from the beginning, even before the match started, all the way through the first half. And it only started to dissipate in the second half with the goals and, you know, as our game improved, which of course kind of neutralized the chemistry. But I am telling you, the message was sent and received. This was shocking. I mean, this was shocking. And there were even chants of Florentino dimisión, like, you know, people yelling that Florentino should resign. It was pretty intense. And I'll tell you something that was kind of interesting is that the protests were unbelievably loud and overwhelming, but it could have been worse because you guys need to understand that the white shirts behind the Fondo Sur, all those white shirts, it's called the Grada de Animación. Now, many years ago, instead of that group of people there was a group called the Ultra Sur. They're like hardcore fanatics, you know, with the flares and everything, and they're prone to violence, and a lot of them had criminal records and all that. Well, Florentino Pérez kicked them out of the stadium, literally all the Ultra Sur, and replaced them by the Grada de Animación, which is, you know, young people wearing the white shirts that are continuously sort of chanting. And so everybody in the white shirts behind the Southern goal, they owe their lives to Florentino Pérez, because they wouldn't have an abono and they wouldn't have access to the stadium if it weren't for the fact that Florentino Pérez created the Grada de Animación. So you have to bear in mind that between a number of tourists, because obviously there's tons of tourists, it's not always socios, and the fact that the Grada de Animación sort of has to back Florentino Pérez, the whistle, you know, it could have been worse. Let me just put it this way. It could have been worse if you had that whole section participating as well. But I'm telling you, this was constant throughout the first half. So let me tell you how this kind of all went down, because the message was received loud and clear. Now, I could hear the whistles even as I walked into the stadium. You could already start to hear them, and then you could hear them when they read the lineup player by player. When they got to Jude, the whistles really picked up, and when it got to Vini, it was just like insane. It was. I think I did a short about that, so you can see that. So they really were kind of focused on that. But when the players walked out on the pitch, you had the anthem going that kind of stifled it a little bit. I think you see that in the first clip in this video. But then when the anthem stopped is when you could really hear it. And people were yelling, fuera, fuera, which means, you know, out. It was really crazy. Now, even before the kickoff, have a look at this, because there were chants and even handkerchiefs before the kickoff. Have a look at this. So pretty crazy. Like I say, it could have been worse. If you had fewer tourists and you didn't have the Grada de Animación, it could have been even worse. But this was overwhelming. The message was received loud and clear, and I promise to all of you, I did my part on your behalf. And boy, oh boy, did they get the message. Now, in terms of, interestingly, when the game started, in terms of the most, I kind of ranked them, and like most and least whistled. I thought it was kind of interesting because it tells you a lot about the perception of where these players are. Now, in terms of the most whistled, number one by far was Vini. I mean, Vini, every time you touch the ball, it's just like 88,000 people whistling. I think it must be very hard to play football when 88,000 people are whistling at you. Second in line was Jude. which I found a little bit surprising because I know he's been playing like crap lately, and this is true. He's been losing a lot of balls and all that. But I mean, all in all, I don't know. It feels really harsh to whistle Jude. But the Bernabéu, is a tough place. The other one that got a lot was Huijsen. Huijsen is definitely on the crap list at the moment. There was even a little whistling to Camavinga and Fede Valverde as well. Now, the players that were most protected, I could tell that the crowd sort of separates from the criticism. Gonzalo, number one, he never got any whistles, and Asensio, interestingly, and of course Tchouaméni and Courtois as well. But I think Asensio and Gonzalo are sort of the protected ones. Everybody else kind of felt like they were, perfectly vulnerable. But yeah, the Vini thing was crazy. Every time he touched the ball, it was serious. But this, like I say, this was a wake-up call, and the message was received. And I promise all of you, I did my part on your behalf. Okay, in terms of the match itself, the lineup that Arbeloa came out with was Courtois in goal, Carreras on the left, Huijsen and Asensio as center backs, Fede as right back, and then in the middle of the pitch he had Tchouaméni and Jude. So Tchouaméni, Camavinga, and Jude a little bit further forward in the 10 position. And then he put Gonzalo on the right wing, Vini on the left wing, and left Kylian as a number 9. Now, in terms of play, and this is what made the whistles continue as long as they did throughout the whole first half. The first half was the most appalling thing I have seen. I think the players were probably kind of shell-shocked, and I think it takes a lot of wind out of you when almost 90,000 people are telling you to get out of town. But there was no football whatsoever in the entire first half. This was one of the most appalling things I've seen in a very long time. The first note I made in the 30th minute was we haven't even had a single shot on goal. It was absolutely the only player running in the first half was the player that had the ball. Everybody else was totally static. Nobody was making moves off the ball. There was nobody was running into space. It was literally the ball going from foot to foot and nobody moving. And the only person that would move was the one with the ball. If he got pressed a little bit, he had to move around. Everybody else was absolutely static. It was shocking. The first sort of semi-chance was in the 32nd minute, a chance by Kylian, but even that was offsides. So I was like, even that didn't count. By minute 38, I wrote in my notes, they have more shots. I was kind of on my phone trying to make notes while I'm at the stadium. I go, in the 30th minute, they have more shots on goal than us, which was, we did not have a single chance in the entire first half. There was zero football. This was ball watching, totally static play, ball passing from foot to foot, from static player to static player. It was absolutely shocking. By the end of the first half, this is how we felt. Insane. It was horrendous. Now, in the second half, we had a change in the half. So Camavinga and Gonzalo came out. And the Gonzalo change I kind of don't understand because I don't think that Gonzalo had played a poor match and he was running a lot. I don't understand that particular change, but Camavinga and Gonzalo came out. Mastantuono and Arda Güler came in. And Arda, I have to say that he changed the game. Arda Güler's presence really changed the game. He's the one that started to string the lines to get, connect the lines and start to string passes and move the ball to where it needed to go with proper criteria. So I think Arda's presence made a very, very big difference. Tchouaméni had a shot in the 50th minute. We started to push up a lot more in the sort of 50s. we had now the penalty came in the 55th minute, and this was a very good play that Kylian converted, and this took a lot of the sting out of the match. And from that point on, I think that we started to play a little bit better, a little bit more relaxed. The whistle subsided, which I think psychologically helped the players quite a bit. So that was a great play by Kylian, the penalty, and then converted. There was another good play of Carreras to Vini with a foul at the edge of the box. In the 60th minute, Huijsen came out and Ceballos came in. Arda, I think, improved our play a lot. In the 63rd minute, there was a good run on the right by Mastantuono. And then in the 65th minute, we had the goal by Asensio. And at this point, there was just a sense of generalized relief in the stadium. And at this point, the whistles did subside and everything kind of calmed down a little bit. But it took Arda to come into the pitch and start to control the play. And it took us kind of pushing forward and generating chances and scoring to kind of bring the tension level down. There was a foul on Vini in the 69th minute that was just shocking that wasn't called. Levante had a good chance in the 70th minute. In the 75th, Mastantuono hit the crossbar. At this point, we started to really generate sort of chance after chance. In the 77th minute, Jude almost scored with a header. In the 78th, Vini took a shot just when Vini, the whistles on Vini sort of stopped in the second half, but there was one play where he took a shot and it went way high. It was just horrible, and of course the crowd started to whistle him again. I think just when he thought he was out of jail, it started again. So it was kind of hilarious to watch. I do think that Madridismo is particularly fed up with Vini. I think that our patience level has really kind of hit the limit with Vini, and he is really walking on eggshells these days, and he needs to just really stay focused and play his best football, or I don't know if he's going to get renewed, because the way he's been playing and the way that Madridismo feels about him, I don't think that a significant contract renewal is in the offing. I think that Real Madrid will offer something they think is reasonable, but given where things are now, I don't think it's going to be the number that Vini expects. So I think there's going to be a lot of tension going forward in terms of that situation. Another note I made is that when Ceballos came in, he takes so much risk with the ball in dangerous areas. I hate it. Camavinga does it sometimes. Ceballos does it all the time. He starts to dribble. He's being pressed by two or three players. And if you're sort of right in front of your own box, like, this is not the place to screw around. Ceballos has a tendency to do that. Then in the 88th minute, Vini had a pretty good play and actually got some applause. In the 89th minute, a very good counter and a good chance by Jude. In the 89th minute, Asensio came off, and he got an absolutely massive round of applause. Asensio, definitely in the mind of Madridistas, and this is an issue I brought up a few videos ago, is that Asensio looks a lot better than Huijsen to me these days. He just does. And I know we spent a lot of money on Huijsen, and I know that, maybe he's still struggling with the legacy of an injury, but Asensio just looks better to me. I was talking about it with my uncle. He got a big round of applause, and the Bernabéu really likes this kid, and I think I understand why. In the 90th minute, Kylian had a shot. There was a good save there. And the 91st, a good play by Vini on the left, and he took a shot. But then in the last minute, there was another wayward shot by Vini, and he got booed again. So Vini's just kind of living on the edge these days. It was kind of hard to watch. But look, in terms of the match itself, which I think wasn't really the most important thing. I mean, this match was important because I think it showed Florentino Perez and the management team and the players that we have hit rock bottom in terms of what the Bernabéu is willing to tolerate, that we are at our limit, and we cannot take any more. And there were chants of Florentino dimisión, which is a really harsh thing to hear if you're sitting in the president's box. So there is no way that they didn't hear this. We all did. And I think from this point on, they really need to be much more focused on the necessities of the squad. I think if we need to spend money in the summer, we never do anything in the winter, which is inexplicable to me. But come summer, there will be changes and there will be massive investments unless things don't change radically. And this is not a team that I see turning around in any radical way. So I think Florentino made a note that from now on, he needs to focus entirely on restoring balance in the squad, spending money on the players that we really need, instead of rolling the dice on these young kids that don't quite fit or maybe aren't quite ready, and sort of, playing the monetary game, playing the future value game. Instead of doing that, bring players that are already playing at a proper level in the positions that we need. And if you have to spend money, spend the money. But I do think that this match was very important in terms of signaling that this is it. This is it, and changes have to come. So I'm happy that I did my part, which I promised you guys, and my face was purple. But look, football-wise, the first half, like I say, was absolutely pathetic. But I do think that it was so intimidating for the players to hear this reaction from the crowd, that I think that they froze up a bit, because it is very hard to play when you have this level of animosity, towards you. And so I think that might explain why they were just so frozen in the first half. In the second half, we improved quite a bit. I think Arda Güler made a very significant difference in our play, and that allowed all of the other players to kind of kick in, because his distribution was very effective in terms of sending the ball to the right place and activating the right players. So it allowed our lines to move up and have more possession and create more chances. I think that kind of, sort of saved us in this case. But look, we got the 3 points. I mean, we're obviously still in contention in La Liga, and we're technically speaking not in a bad place in the Champions League. And I'll be back on Tuesday to watch the Monaco match. But there's a good chance that we will be in the top 8 in the Champions League. There's a good chance of that. So technically speaking, it's not the disaster that you would think given the crowd reaction, because we're 4 points off the lead in La Liga, but we're still in a good position in the Champions League. It's not that. It's the sensation and the style of play. It's like what we're seeing on the pitch that is totally unconvincing, losing to second, nearly third division teams, and all the draws. And, it has been incredibly disappointing. And so even if it doesn't look on paper point-wise that we're that far off, the impression that we've given in the last few weeks is among the worst that I can remember. So this match was very, very important to sort of reset, make sure that everybody understands what the expectations are, and that we have hit the limit. So I think the players understood it. Florentino definitely heard it, and I think it was a very important thing to do. And like I say, I did my part. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. I hope you enjoyed the footage. I put up some shorts as well of some of the crowd reactions. You should check those out as well. But I will definitely cover the Monaco match for you guys as well. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Hope you enjoyed the video and the footage. Love you guys. And as always and forever, a la Madrid.